welcome everyone. So today just gonna go over trade recaps. Gonna go over mine, and if you guys want to share your trades, we'll definitely look over it together and go from there. For those watching this replay on YouTube or wherever you're watching it, I'm not a financial advisor, so anything you see here is just for educational purposes. Trading does have its risks, so please do your research before you engage in trading. All right, well, now that that's out the way, so today I just did one trade. Got caught up in a session this morning, so didn't really do much besides this trade. And let me just delete this real quick. So I'm gonna go over YM and then I'm gonna go over Tesla because I had Tesla up, but I was too busy looking at YM and was in a session as well, so I couldn't really pay as much attention as I wanted to it. Anywho, so for YM today, pretty much all I did was trade the W trade that you guys have seen me talk about a lot. Pretty straightforward. We got the usual. Let me get my arrow tool so it's a little easier to follow. Should be this one. So we had the gap up. CPI came out and basically everything gapped up a lot. We had the first step, which is a move down from open, and we create a low of day. Second step, we get the retracement. Third step, we create a higher low, and then we start heading higher, which is pretty much what happened today. So my entry for this specific trade was, let me get my tool out, it's a little easier to find. And this is on the 5-minute, by the way. You can find this on other time frames. I personally like to look for it on the 5 and 15-minute, but usually the 5-minute is my go-to. So I entered in on this, for those who trade the strat, and you guys can see my screen, right? Before I continue talking, forgot to mention that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Cool. So on this 2 down, 2 up, I entered in right here on the break of this high. My stop loss was under the, the bottom of the W per se. So I had about a 32 point stop loss on this trade. My first target, bring this up. My first target was the center of the W, which was right here. This will be target 1. And then my second target was right up here, the completion of the W. And of course, if you want to leave a runner position, you can take it higher. But I was definitely happy with this 84 point move, and I just took it off there and basically just stopped for the day. I took my whole position off. So that's pretty much the only trade I took today. Pretty good one. You can usually catch this at least 2 to 3 times a week if the market makers and algorithms are set to that. But usually on average, I catch this 2 to 3 times a week. And you can catch this on anything, really. I mainly trade for futures like YM, but you can catch it if you trade options like on SPY, probably IWM. I never really look for it on that personally. But SPY, QQQ, etc. So today, let's look at QQQ real quick. QQQ didn't have a W, but it did have a TTO for those who trade the strat. So we had to obviously push up, and we're obviously bullish because we triggered on the daily, 4 hour, etc., and the 1 hour. We got the pullback, and then you go long off this 2 down, 2 up, and then you just take it up. And as you can see, for this specific trade, again, I didn't take it, but for those who know the strat, you would have entered in here. Stop loss, I usually put it under the setup candle, which is here. You can have the completion of the TTO as your max target, but you can keep on taking it higher from there if you wanted. So if you would have went long here, you could have had your stop under the trigger candle right here, but I like to put it under the setup candle when it comes to TTOs. So this would have been another trade you could have taken. Let's look at SPY. I think SPY probably did the same thing. Yeah, similar to SPY as well for today. So you could have taken this TTO, move up, get the move down, get this 2 down to up reversal, and take it up. If you missed this initial TTO, you could have gotten in this one here. Not as clean. I like a bigger pullback, but this is another acceptable one. You get a little baby pullback, take the 312 up. That would have been a nice one. Let's see. Mike, the trade you took, well, it was on ES, but same thing on SPY.
Yeah, it was on ES on the 4 hour, I believe.
4 hour? Hold on, I think it was a 30-minute. Let me double check.
Oh, you might be right, yeah.
Yeah, it was the, let me bring electronic. Yeah, it was 312 up. You entered in here, and then you caught all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good stuff. For Tesla, before I get sidetracked again. Tesla today on the 4 hour. For those who were here last time, I think what, like 2 days ago? Whenever it was that I had that other recap, maybe yesterday. It's been a long day. Anyway, for Tesla today, obviously we got the gap up, so it triggered a 212 up, and then it just got obliterated in the beginning. Where I would have entered here would have been on the 3 down. Let me go on Thinkorswim since all my levels are there. So I would have entered in on this 1-3 down. So as soon as this went outside bar to the downside, I would have went short here. My stop loss would have been, what's that range? I probably would have had it halfway of the inside bar, or I would have reduced my position and then had my stop loss back up here. But pretty straightforward. Today was a really clean day for Tesla. As soon as it triggered that 3 down, it just went straight to targets. If you want to use strat targets, you could use either the body or the wick as your targets. I have these fib levels here as extra targets. So I would have taken profit once it hit, I would have trimmed here, take some profit there, and then take some more profit there. And if you look on the 5-minute, that pretty much happened really quick today. So the second candle would have gotten you in to trigger that 3 down on the 4 hour, and you would have just pretty much been green almost immediately in those 2 candles there. Hit basically all the target, then kind of just chopped around for the rest of the day. But yeah, that's pretty much what I saw for today and what I took. What did you guys take? You can come off mute or type in the chat, whatever you want. And you should be able to type in the chat or come off mute. I think I fixed the permissions earlier today or yesterday.
I didn't get into anything because I did the forbidden and let my green turn red.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I was bummed after that. I just like, let me just leave it alone.
What was it?
Upstart.
I see what happened. Yeah, in this case, always, if you are open, what caused you not to take profit when it hit your target?
I was expecting it to push a little higher, but I thought I had stop loss set.
Mm-hmm.
But I used Robinhood and I set it, and I took it off, reset it because I was in profit to I took it off to do it, and I guess I got sidetracked. I forgot that I didn't set it back,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't watching it and started doing stuff. And the next thing I know, um, yeah, I saw it going down, but I didn't realize that it wasn't set. And yeah, by the time I realized, went back and looked, I'm like, oh my God, why didn't it stop me out? Realized I didn't even have a stop. So,
Gotcha.
and that just bummed me out. So I just left it alone for the day.
Gotcha. Robinhood has stop losses that you can set. Like,
Yes.
gotcha. Um, yeah, we can just chalk that one up to learning experience, but also, in this case, um, assuming you're using strat targets and then it hit the target there, we should be trimming, regardless of if we think it's gonna go higher or not. We always have to follow the plan. And the moment that we switch up the plan, that's something that you need to immediately look at, because then you'll get into trouble like this. So you don't want to be in a situation where it's like, all right, cool, it's hitting target. Let me just wait a little more to see if it goes higher. Well, once we start thinking like that, that's a red flag that we need to, take a step back and follow the original trading plan.
I agree.
And yeah, always set. I always set like alerts as well on the charts, because I'm using like a mental stop. Usually, since I'm trading futures for options, I'll set like the physical stops on top of the alert stops, just so I'm like, fully paying attention. Because I've been there before. We're human. We make mistakes. Where I set the alert, but I don't set the physical stop, and then all right, cool, the alert went off, my stop went off, then I'll go back. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm red. This is annoying, but learning experience. Anything else you guys took or want to share or want me to go over?
I'll share what I did today. I'm sorry, it's pretty loud. I'm in my daughter's dance class.
You're
Can you
good.
hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. So I got out of a SPY and a riot call today. And with SPY, I looked this up Sunday night. It was a 2-1 hammer on the quarterly. And the target was 524.61 from the quarterly.
The weekly, you mean?
Weekly as well. I think, let me see. Weekly. Let's see, for the month.
Yeah, the weekly had the 2-1 2 hammer to the upside.
Okay. Yes, I have a 1-2 for weekly from Sunday. I'm gonna have a 2-1 for the month and a 2-1 for the quarter. With the high for the month being 524.38 and the quarter being 524.61. So both of those were hit today. The price had gotten over 526 and went ahead and got out because I bought a bad contract. The theta had eaten it up. Is when I got into it, I guess it was red for so long. That I was at 526. I'd only made $1.50. So I just went ahead and got out of the contract. So I was green, but barely green.
Gotcha. Yeah, like we were speaking before, generally, and again, for those who do swing trade, SPY, and all that other stuff, do not let me dissuade you. I just personally don't care for it because like the contracts are really expensive to swing and theta is pretty high. To me, it's just not worth it. There are better opportunity cost trade, tickers to swing, in my experience anyway.
Okay, and I bought it pretty far out. I think it was June, but still, it hit the target today. But yeah, like you said, barely made anything. So I need to pay more attention to theta or just avoid it. As I watch delta and gamma, but I forgot to check theta if I'm going to swing anything.
Definitely. Let's check SPY real quick. I haven't traded SPY in who knows how long, probably more than a year. Let's see. June contracts. Let's check this weekly one. Theta's not bad for the far out ones, like 15-20 bucks.
Okay, I'm looking to see which one I purchased. I try to make a note of that. Oh, there I go. Okay, it was 7/19. So it was July 19, 585. So super
July
cheap.
19. Wait, a
Mhm,
585
585.
call?
Yeah, super cheap.
Oh
Super
yeah,
far.
yeah, that's mega far out. Hold on, let me see these Greeks real quick. Let's do all 585. Yeah, for strikes like this far out, I wouldn't even bother. Um, sure, if you're gonna do like leaps and stuff and you anticipate it going there, but um, you run into things like this where, yeah, theta is like nothing on these contracts, but um, the issue is like when the stock is moving in your favor, you're basically getting nothing, as opposed to if, let's say, you were to swing. Let's see, let me go back to the chart real quick. Let's go on the weekly. So let's say for this week, if we got in 523, and let's say we got a 5, that's what, 7 deltas away. I'm pretending the strike I'm gonna choose is like the one from today that I would look at. So $7 from here, that's what, 536. Let's see. Yeah, you still would have paid like almost nothing for it. But granted, with the move that happened today, since it's like closer to the money than the 585, it would have been somewhere like in this range of what it would be worth, like in the hundreds compared to like a dollar or two.
Okay, so that was if I had have had the weekly ending on Friday, that would have been, and then it's 56.
Well, you could have done like the July one if you wanted, but not so far. Granted, you would have paid more money for it. Let's say like $7 away from. So you may pay like $700 to $800. But if we look at the other ones, I'm just pretending that this contract here is like one of the current ones, if that even make any sense at all, like to give us the change that happened this week. So if we were to get let's say the price of SPY was like 523 when it triggered that weekly 2 up, and we would have chosen a 530 strike contract. Obviously you're going to pay more money because it's closer than the 585 or whatever, but you would have probably paid around $800 for it, and then it would have probably gained in value based on what I'm looking at here, about $300 to $400 that you would have made, as opposed to like the dollar or two on the contracts or whatever.
Okay. So I'm working to build up a blown out account, so I've been looking for a really small sunshine for this. So I was saying I dedicated yesterday to finding tickers that have contracts small enough for me to buy close to the money and give me a little time as well. And I saw that SPY was a bad buy. So like I said, as soon as it crossed over today, I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to get a better contract and pay close attention to contracts, or take this as a learning.
Definitely. What I do like, personally, is for
Riot seemed to work. Riot, what do you think about?
Yeah, I'll
I
take a
felt like
look
it was a
at.
better choice.
Riot is good for smaller accounts as well, for people that I've heard that have traded that. If you're gonna trade an index, I personally like IWM because you can get like in the money contracts for like a day or two out, and they're pretty cheap. They're like 60 to $100. Usually, what I would do, like let's say, as we can see here, the last price was 209. The last price was 209, and let's say my first target is 210. I'll get like that 210 contract, And as we can see here, 2 days away, you're only paying $70. The delta is pretty good in the gamma and such. Theta, yeah, I don't really look at theta too much if I'm day trading, because I'm gonna be out of the trade within 3 hours anyway. I don't really hold into the afternoon or trade the afternoon. I'm usually, within the first 2-3 hours, I'm out of the trade already, should have hit most of the targets by then. But IWM I like for smaller accounts because, you know, cheaper contracts. You can even get in the money contract that's $100 and change. So, that can slowly build up the smaller accounts in my experience. And it doesn't move as volatile as like SPY and QQQ and things like that. For Riot, so let's see. Let's go on the 4-hour. Yeah, Bitcoin is moving up. So obviously Riot's going to move up as well. I would usually like day trade crypto stocks. I don't really swing trade them just because, like if Bitcoin gets obliterated and you're in calls for like a crypto stock, then your calls are going to get obliterated. So I would personally day trade them. But again, you can definitely swing trade them. I would probably just reference the Bitcoin chart as well to see if it's good to swing trade it based on what Bitcoin is doing and such.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was meant for day, but I bought a day out just in case, and it worked out in my favor where it was, I think it was borderline last night, or maybe a little in the red, and then today it hit my target. So I got out.
Yeah, today was a really good day, and I think let's go here real quick. Yeah, we reversed back on the weekly. The daily's super strong. Looks like we're probably gonna head to all-time highs if we can break this area here. We'll see. I'd like this week to close above this BF level to head higher. Something to note, by the way, since I was talking about TTOs earlier, if we look at SPY on the weekly time frame, it completed its TTO today. We got that big pullback, the reversal back up, and it broke this high here.
Is it a TTO wants to break the high or just because it reversed?
Say that again.
Is a TTO declared a TTO once there's a break in structure, or just because it went up? It went up and back towards the direction of the trend of the thing.
For me, I would say the TTO was valid if it broke that high. So if it breaks that initial high, then to me that's a completed TTO. To me, a failed TTO would be if it where's this? If it came back, it came up, came down, and then instead of breaking that high, it just reverses and keeps on going lower. And in this case, it'll be like a double top or an M if you want to look at it that way. But for a TTO, for me to be valid, I would like it to break that high on the left side. Or if, let's go on the 5-minute. Hold on. Or if it's like a bearish day. If it's a bearish day, I'd like it to break the low. So it broke that structure right there. To me, that's a completed bearish TTO or an H pattern. Now, for the H pattern, it completes here. And let me go back to YM to just explain why. I guess the idea behind the W trades, right? So the idea behind the W trade is basically we're getting the sellers pushing it down, then we get a little retracement back up to trap more buyers. But if we get that higher low and it reverses off that higher low, that's letting me know that the sellers are no longer in control and that the buyers are stepping up to bring the price higher. Because if the sellers were in control, we would break this low, which in this case it did not. Instead, the buyer stepped up, formed a higher low, reversed price up, and then just took it higher. So a W is just a failed H pattern. And I guess the idea behind it is, sellers got overtaken and the buyer stepped up to reverse price in their favor.
Where would you have gotten in here?
On this 2 down, 2 up. So on this candle here, that's where I entered in today. And then my stop loss is under. So you can have your stop loss in 2 places. If you want a little tighter stop, you can have it right under the bottom right of the W, or you can have it as a low of day, because if it completes the H pattern, the W is no longer valid. So you can have your stop at low of day, under this left side, or under the setup candle, or under the bottom right of the W. First target is the center of the W. Second target is the completion of the W. Now, if you missed this initial entry here, if it's a valid W, you can always catch this little TTO to the upside. For those who trade ICT, I think this will be like an order block trade for them, and this will be like the reversal. Let me see if I could show you guys a little picture that my friend sent me. Where is this? I have it in the ICT section of the group. So if we go so right here, as we can see, also I did not make this, so do not come at me for the incorrect spelling. As we can see here, this is basically a W. We get the low, we get the push up, we get a slightly higher low. It comes up, retraces, and goes back up. So for today, for YM, we have this middle version. So this one right here, we go to YM. Oh, whoops, wrong chart. We go to YM. We had the TTO present itself a little higher instead of coming back that market structure level wise right here and then bouncing higher. Instead, it reversed up here and then kept on going higher based on this right here, as we can see.
I see that Apex is on sale. I was asking about that. It's like $18. Is that like for a year? The lock-in or for the test?
So basically, the way it works is, let me bring up my screen here. So basically, they have a 90% off going on right now. 90 days off, or 90% off is for the first month. Then it goes to 80% off for the following, what do you call it? For the following, like if you don't pass the challenge that month, it goes to 80%. So the first month, let's say if you get like a 100K account, it'll be like $22 and change. And then the following month, it'll go back to being like, I don't know, what, 30 to 55, 30 to $60 a month until you pass the account. So the first month is 90% off, and then it's 80% after that. Keep in mind, once you pass the challenge, or the evaluation stage, then they're going to send you an email congratulating you, etc., etc. And then you have the option to pay monthly or to pay a one-time fee. I always went for the one-time fee because I don't want to pay monthly. The only thing is, for the one-time fee, you pay more. So the monthly, I think, is like $60 to $80 depending on the account size that you got. And the one-time payment is, or activation fee, whatever they want to call it, I forget. Activation fees like 140 to 180 depending on the account size that you got, and you pay that once. Now I'll try not to go too deep into it because it's just like a trade recap session, but essentially it's cheaper obviously in the long run for the one-time fee. You just have to understand that if you fail, or you blow the funded account, or the PA account as they call it, you have to start all over again. You got to get an evaluation account, pass it again, then pay the activation fee again. And then the 1 day pass, I was seeing that some people were a little confused on that. It doesn't mean that you need to pass in 1 day. That means that they allow you to pass in 1 day. Generally, they require you to trade minimum of 5 days. So in this case, with the promo, you can trade, if you pass the account in 1 day, then you're good to go. You don't need to trade the 5 days for the evaluation stage. That makes sense?
Yes, thank you.
Of course. Anywho, any other trades that you guys want me to look at before we hop off? Moon, any trades that you took today you want me to look at, or Eni?
No, I didn't take any trades.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank y'all for coming out as always. I'll try to have these like once or twice a week, if I'm not booked in the afternoon after the trading day is done. And then we'll go over some. Mr. NQ wants to come in late, I see.
Yes, sir.
We're just wrapping up, so
Yeah, I just live. I was like, let me see who's spitting knowledge. Let me hop on real quick.
yeah, we're talking about the W today for YM, the one that I took.
Okay.
I was pretty much done on
Yeah.
that one, and then I went over some other trades for the other people took, and Tesla that I looked at. But yeah, I'll try to have these like once or twice a week, maybe a little more. Like I
That's good to
mentioned,
know. Good to know.
like if I'm not booked and stuff. Also, well, actually, let me stop recording and then I'll mention this.